So I watched this experimental animated film called Crypto Zoo. If you haven't seen it, I absolutely recommend it. If you're a fan of cryptology, fantasy and mythological animals. And wow, the animation was very special. It was very special because it used frames very sparingly and very strangely, but in a lovely effect. And sometimes it wasn't lovely, it was like purposely creepy, but it really just set an atmosphere. Oh, and it used, all the art styles fit together, but sometimes they were slightly different. Like, most of it is very like water painter like, and other times it was very, I don't know, kind of collagey. It just felt like all kinds of different art styles brought into one, and you think that would look kind of messy, and some points it did, but it did to like represent how a lot of the different creatures were from like different cultures and such, and the way it was all brought together, it does like just come together beautifully. So Crypto Zoo filled me with a sense of wonder and specialness, and yay for animation and yay for fantasy. So I decided to watch another experimental animated feature. And it filled me with wonder and revulsion and horror. I'm talking about the Belladonna of Saddness, a film that I absolutely recommend for animation fans for being special and, I don't know, just gosh. It was definitely very 70s to me, in not only the tone and its choices of like overt sexual themes, but I don't know, just the way it was designed and the concentration of it. It reminded me of, I don't know, like Beatles animated film, like that Yellow Submarine documentary. And yeah, it reminded me of this very trippy Peanuts movie I once saw. But no, even stronger than all those, it was just so striking with it. It was not more comic booky or collagey as much as it was just very powerful art. Like, again, they used very few frames, but the frames they used mattered. The motions they used mattered, okay? Less was more in this way because they were striking, not just with their color choices, but just the compositions of them were so strong. Like, wow, it is a piece of art. It truly is. I mean that, and I respect it and admire it, but do I like it as a film? The story, big spoiler alert, the Belladonna of Sadness has a lot of sadness. It reminded me of cool movies like Girl with the Dragon Tattoo and The Witch. Yeah, it reminded me of those movies because it involves rape and Satanism, and how no matter what a lady does, the world hates her. It's a sad truth. I don't think all women experience the absolute hatred of the world, but this is a great example of how, wow, no matter what a woman does, she will be punished for her actions. Yes, good or bad, doesn't matter. I mean, look at Elphaba. Poor Elphaba. So, yeah, this Belladonna, her name is actually like Jean. Funny thing, this movie was made in Japan, but it was based off a French novel. So yeah, main character's name is Jean, and because she got married, that meant the king or the lord of the land had to rape her. And while it wasn't explicit in its graphicness, it was strongly hinted that it was kind of a gangbang on her. And her weak, useless husband, all he could do was cry and blame her, and all she could do was apologize for getting them in that situation. Ugh. But even though she felt like it was all her fault, she was still angry inside. She was still miserable and sad inside. So her soul begged out for help, and the only person that responded was Satan. And he comes in this cute little form, this little wiggly, like almost fairy like form to say, hey, like a little genie, I can grant you a wish. Though, unlike a genie, you're gonna have to pay me back later. And at first, Jean decides to use her powers to, help her family situation, help her village situation, because if you haven't like figured out that the Lord and his queen and his whole court, they're brutal, like dictators, they're horrible. So she tries to help the people. Yay. And she does, like with using the magic powers Satan gives her, she helps the village. Though because the magic's from Satan, the village turns on her with the encouragement of, the Lord. And yeah, it's a stressful thing, not just from what she does. Apparently, the people, the village, they sent all their men to war, so the women are home stressed, and that's why she was trying to help the village. But even when the men come back and everything's better, they blame her because they say, oh yeah, despite the fact that her powers have done nothing but help the people, it's her fault that we had problems in the first place, not the leaders that decided to go to war. No. Yeah, so she's brutalized again, and Satan, despite the fact that he seems terrifying, very friendly, very, affable, as most modern depictions of the devil usually are. Yeah, he still kind of rips her, like, from the inside out, but, like, I don't know, other nature goddesses, how they grow from the dirt. She becomes an apothecary, the witch in the forest that helps people. And she does that. But again, the lords think, hey, that's not cool because we didn't come up with it first. And yeah, it's just like, no matter what she does, whether she's just trying to help herself or other people, the lords are trying to bring her down. Ugh, God. Makes you want to sing Defying Gravity for her. I'm not going to tell you how it ends because that's up to you if you want to see that. So, yeah. Do I understand why this movie has not really been talked about before? Yeah, I get it. Yeah. I mean, the first 5 minutes into it, the rape begins, and the way it's done, well, very artful, is just painful and just, blah. So, who do I recommend this movie to? Well, like the movies I say it reminds me of earlier, The Witch by that Anna Taylor kid when she was like, 18. Pretty good movie, pretty good horror movie from, the atmosphere was different than what you expect a horror movie to be, but it really does, fuel those, if I were to go into Wicca and just give my life to Satan thing, this really rationalizes why that's not the worst idea. But Girl with the Dragon Tattoo has nothing to do with Satanism, really, but our main heroine, despite how unfair and cruel the world is to her and how little she asks from it in return, she still does some pretty amazing things and does punch back. Awesome, great movie. I like the original Swedish version more than the American version, but that's just me. So who do I recommend this movie to? I mean, if you just get a kick out of seeing women tortured, sure, it's a hoot. If you like seeing the magic of, giving into nature and fantasy and all that, then I think you can enjoy it. If you're an animation fan, absolutely. If you, took any sort of, painting classes at all, this movie, I think, is a great example of how strong compositions can be. And it's also a very good example of, the vibe you can get if you watch a 70s movie. For me, 70s movies have always these sort of repeating themes. Paisley, flowers, lot of sex, lot of nipple play, frankly. And just the way the music is, I don't know what that instrument is called, but it just the music is very 70s. It fits with its supernatural, atmosphere very well, but it just all screams 70s. Before I even, looked up what time this movie was made, I could just say, wow, this noise, this music is the 70s. So, The Belladonna of Saddness is a special movie, but it's a major bummer. Yeah. It's a very pretty movie, but oof. I had to walk away from it at some points to get a breather because I just couldn't take how rough they were on that poor woman. But I am happy I saw it. I think I could see it again after a little time, but it's going to take me some time. And I definitely don't want to see it alone. Yeah, it's that kind of movie. So, yay, there's my review of The Belladonna of Saddness.